Hi, my name is Savannah and welcome to my YouTube channel. So this was my attempt at Artober. I wanted to kind of do a mix of both Peachtober and Inktober. Like I said, this was my attempt. As you'll see, I didn't make it very far. I think I only made it to day 8 or 9. I'll probably correct myself. I tried to set some rules for myself to try to beat this ambitious goal of mine, but like I said, I didn't make it all the way through, so I kind of wanted to give some of the reasons why I think that I didn't follow through with the full 31 days. Also, please forgive the choppiness of this voiceover and the stuffiness of my voice. Words aren't really my thing, so I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone with that, and if I sound a little stuffy, it's because I'm towards the last couple of days of a cold that I'm getting over. So here are some of the reasons why I didn't finish Artober. So the first reason is because I didn't really have a plan. Similar to this voiceover, I'm kind of just winging it, which could be a good thing. It could be fun. You can get some really cool things out of that, but for me and the way that my brain is set up, I can only go so far without a set plan and knowing where I'm going before I get overwhelmed and frustrated. For instance, I gave myself a loose outline of what I wanted to do for the first 30 days, meaning I set up a time for the warm-up sketch, and I wanted to I didn't force myself to finish a piece in a day. I just wanted to get at least 75% of it done, just so I can get the idea out there, but I didn't plan the actual words themselves. So the only real plan that I had was the first Peachtober prompt, which was B. It was based off of a tattoo idea I wanted, based off of my experience in college. The mascot of the school that I went to is a bee. So I thought that was a perfect time to kind of realize that sketch, so even if I never end up getting it tattooed, I kind of have a finished version of that in my possession. But beyond that, that was the first and last word prompt that was planned out, and the rest I kind of winged it, which kind of led into reason number 2, which was just burnout. I was trying to brainstorm a new idea every day as well as making it, and that just wasn't something that I could do realistically for 31 days without getting some sort of burnout. And as the video goes along, you can see how some of my warm-up sketches and final drawings or final pieces, you can just see how they kind of just lack the same amount of quality that the first finished drawing has. Another reason, which kind of ties into the first 2 reasons, is just time management. I don't know if I touched on this already, but my time management is awful. That's why this video is probably coming out middle to late November, when I technically finished filming these clips like mid-October. That's just something that I'm working on, and it was nice to kind of carve out some time for drawing because I didn't realize how much I missed drawing, but in the end, it just didn't work out. And then the last reason why it didn't work out is because I just had other obligations. I recently moved, so there's a lot of things like that, and I've picked up more hours working to help with moving expenses and just living, because you have to pay bills. So other obligations came before that, and as much as I would love to make art my full-time, which is something that I'm actively working towards every day, just during this challenge, it was just a little too ambitious. And I think long term, if I do want to see this as a full-time career, I have to first take care of what's going on now, if that makes any sense. So yeah, now that I talked about why the Artober didn't work for me, now I want to talk about what I learned from it. So one of the first things I learned is the importance of doing a warm-up sketch. So I grew up pretty much doing art for as long as I can remember, and I just always went into like a final piece, and I never really valued a warm-up sketch until this challenge. Doing a warm-up sketch allowed me to try drawing things that I wouldn't normally draw without the pressure of having it look the best it can possibly be, which is something that I've been trying to work on with my art. So in a way, this challenge kind of helped me get over the fear of making bad art, like in quotations, because another thing I learned was my art actually isn't as bad as I thought it was. Like I said, I grew up drawing, and in high school I drew very realistic things, and then in college I kind of lost my love for drawing because it didn't look the way that I knew that it could, and because it wasn't at this standard that I've had in my head for so long, I just decided that I couldn't draw anymore, and that's kind of silly. I kind of had to step outside myself and think there are so many artists that I love, and their stuff could be far from realistic, so what makes what I'm doing any different from that? It's just because it doesn't look just like what you're drawing doesn't mean that it isn't good, and just because it isn't where you think it should be also doesn't mean that it isn't good. So in a way, I guess it also kind of taught me to just be nicer to what I create, because it's essentially an extension of me and where I'm at during the time that I'm creating that. Another thing that I learned, or I guess maybe learn isn't the right word, but this whole thing has resparked my joy for ink drawings and pen art and just black and white media. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping to make more things using some line art and ink. And the last thing I learned is it's okay to take a break, and not just in art, but just like in general. I think with just social media nowadays, I feel like I have to be doing something all the time, and I'm not, and it makes me feel like I'm behind and I need to always be doing something. And the reality is, even though I think in order to make a living being like an online artist or trying to get your work out there in front of people, to some extent you do have to be consistent, but it should never be at the cost of your physical, mental well-being. Unknowingly, I've always been pretty good at making sure that I don't get to that point and not understanding why, and then getting frustrated with myself for not allowing myself to push myself even further. But now I just kind of realize that my body is doing what it needs to be doing, whether I like it or not, and I'm now more grateful to that. And I lean into my burnout, and I use that time to rest instead of trying to push myself even more. So yeah, that's how my Artober went. I only made it a couple of days. Next time, if I were to do this, I would definitely plan out in advance the actual drawings. I might even skip a day, like intentionally, to kind of get through it. But if you participated in any sort of Artober prompt, I would love to know how you made it through, or if you didn't, how that's going, I guess. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more footage, so I'm just going to let that play with some copyright-free music. Thank you for watching. Bye.